Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Break the bad wada sai number ke fir jianu. It is time for us to meet today's guests. In the studio with us, we have a Private Yasmin, Captain Hazel Ashton and Lance Corporal Harpreet Kaur from the British Army. Let's welcome them. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for all three of you for coming in today. So this week on Breakfast Show, we've been talking about mainly so females. So in the month of January, we celebrate this. It's not a religious festival, but a cultural festival called Lori, which is primarily celebrated when there's a birth of a boy in an Asian family, which makes me very, very angry, and I'm sure it'd make you feel angry as well, especially Harpreet Kaur. So what we've been doing is, all the guests that have been coming on have been females, but they've been coming on to say, you know what, there's no issue with us being a female, we can do what boys can do better. So, you know, thank you for coming on. So can you give me a bit of a background about yourselves first, how you got into the army, basically? That's what we're interested to find out.
Well, I worked looking after adults with learning disabilities before I joined the army. I just fancied doing something to make myself proud more than anything, and giving myself a bigger challenge. So I just decided one day just to go.
Just decided and thought, this is something for me.
Yeah, so I just went ahead and did it, and I had full support of my parents to go and do it. And it took me about a year to get in from start to finish, but it was really good.
Definitely. So, Captain Hazel, what about yourself?
I'm actually an Army Reserve officer, so I've had two careers. I'm very fortunate. I started my education in Wolverhampton, at a very good school there, went on to University of Manchester, and I've had two careers, one in finance, and at the same time as an Army Reservist, which is as a paid volunteer in the Army. And I think the real motivation to do it was to see just how far you go. Come on, let's see what you can achieve. And I was always quite an outdoors kind of person, liking outdoors pursuits, expeditions. So I thought, well, let's just see what I can do. And I went for the selection.
Wow.
And I got in, and that's over 12 years ago. So I've loved it ever since.
You've enjoyed it?
Yes, I have.
What about yourself, Harpreet?
I grew up in India. I did my master's degree there and worked there for 3 years. And after that, I was like, I need to learn something new. Let's move at an international level. So I moved to England, did my another master's degree here, and worked for another 3 years.
Wow.
But after that, when I started comparing my life in India and in England, I realized that somehow I lost purpose. Means there was nothing new I was learning or anything. So I was looking for a new purpose in life and something that is just bigger than getting more education or earning more money. So I came across the army, and since then it's just like a roller coaster ride.
How did you come across the army? Obviously you mentioned you've studied and grew up in India, but the British Army, so how did you come across this?
It was not in my mind to join the army when I came from India. At that time, my interest was in education. Means I wanted to do my master's degree, then I wanted to proceed to my PhD.
Okay.
But I was like, PhD, I would do it when I'm like 100% ready, because it requires lots of research and all. So then I was like, okay, I'll gain some experience, because in England means you see people from all over the world. So understanding their cultures and all, I was like, okay, I could learn something new here. But after 3 years, I was like, okay, I learned, and what now? What next? So I could go for work for another company or something like that at a bigger level. But I was like, no, but after some years, it would be the same thing.
Right.
So that's how I was looking, like something that I have never done before, or nobody in my family has ever done it. Means no one's got got the army background, so I was like, okay, this is what I want to do then.
How do your parents feel? They must be very proud of you.
They are, but my dad's initial reaction, like any other
fathers.
Indian dad, would be like, female in the army. Means it was not like that I couldn't do it. It just like it never came across his mind. Means that's not the normal job we.
Not for
That's
they'd expect you to be a doctor or you know, work in bank or something.
Especially means once you have a degree, they think that, oh, you're gonna go in some like really big sector, you know, doctor, engineer, lawyer, but they never think that female with a master's degrees and more than one master's degree is gonna leave everything and gonna go to join the army. Means my dad once pointed out as well, so what do you do then? Left all that education behind, like all that civilized thing, and gonna go roll around in mud.
That's the perception that everybody seems to have, though. But, you know, I'm sure that's not all you do. Can you tell me what your sort of typical day involves?
I think when you say that's not all you do, I think back to people like Winston Churchill, where they've actually been in the army as an officer, for example, and they've gone on to do jobs in politics, international relations, and you do get to use that. Yes, you've all got to go through that basic training. Some of it is the mud and sleeping outside and all those hardy kind of activities. But the channels that you can go down afterwards are really quite varied and quite wide. So I agree with why you said that, absolutely.
So to initially join, can you study any sort of area of education, or do you have to have particular qualifications to sort of initially join?
The trade I joined in, you didn't really need any sort of qualifications.
So what are the basic requirements that you would need?
Some trades you need GCSEs or above, but it just all depends on what you're joining. So I'm a supply specialist. So
what does that involve?
It's supplying kit to, and usually it's like REME and stuff like that, but we supply anything that people need, troops need on the ground, obviously out on. I'm working within REME to supply them stuff to fix vehicles and stuff like that. So, but you don't need, and there's so many opportunities as well to open up and get better education through the army.
Yeah. But I've been told that there's so many different roles that you can go into. Can you give us some of the areas that that the army offers? Because it's not just frontline, staff that you need. There's different roles. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, and I think people's perception is often the combat area, which is the rolling around in mud and sleeping out a lot. And we all go through that basic training. But behind there, you've also got engineers, for example. Certainly in the Royal Signals, we need people who are technology specialists, satellite communications. There are specialist linguists, as we were talking about this morning, so we look for a variety of language skills as well. And that's just some of the examples. That's available both at soldier level, if you've got a more rudimentary education, and you've got the opportunity to come in and build on that education, or as you've said, to come in at a higher level where you've got a degree. That could mean you come in as a soldier, but it also could mean you come in as one of our leaders as an officer. So
with your education, it doesn't matter even if if you've got a degree and stuff, do you initially have to all come in at the same level with your like you said, your basic training, and then you can move up the ranks, or do you mean like if you have got higher qualifications you can come in at a higher rank?
There are two tiers. You can come in as a soldier, which requires basic GCSEs. For officers you require 6 basic GCSEs plus 2 A-levels. But a huge majority of our officers come in with degrees now. They want that experience. And you bring that education with you.
Yeah. Is there enough females in the army, do you think, Harpreet?
Well, the numbers is standing at 9% of the total strength.
It's very low, isn't it? Why do you think that is?
Well, it is. I would say it is a personal choice. Means army is open to males and females. Means it is gender neutral organization. But I think it is the perception. Means what do you think? Being a soldier or an officer as first job choice. Means when we are deciding about our careers, we think about, okay, I'm getting education. I'm gonna go work in a law firm, or I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna go work with NHS, for example. They usually means it doesn't come across their mind that, okay, I could be a doctor, but I could be a doctor within the army. But I think it is just the perception of society, or your own perception, means how you see the armed forces.
I mean, being females, have you come across any difficulties? Have sort of, you face any kind of, issues where, by maybe your male colleagues have sort of thought, what, I'm stronger than you, or I can do this better than you, you're a female. Have you ever, any of you ever faced any problems like that?
No, I felt quite comfortable as a female. I'm never really, you just fit in.
Do you?
Yeah, and the guys that you work alongside as well, and they help you if you are struggling, and you do find that there's some things that you are better at than the lads are.
Yeah.
And everyone just helps each other. And like I said, I've never had any issues. No.
What about yourself, you guys? Have you ever faced any difficulties like this at all?
I think I've been quite fortunate, both in my civilian life in finance and in the army. It's about, can you do the job? What are your talents, and have you brought that to the fore for the team? If you've got areas of weakness, I don't think it's because it's you're male or female, it's because you've got a weakness in a certain area. So let's all work together to try and get that team over that bridge or over that mountain or through the rain, whatever it is. So I'm quite fortunate there. Yeah.
What about yourself, Harpreet? Have you, especially being maybe Asian, have you come across any kind of difficulties in the British Army?
Not really, because the army is made up of British people only, and British society itself is multicultural. They are used to seeing people from different race and religion all the time. So it is the same within the army as well. I haven't found it difficult that, oh, I'm Asian, I'm different color, or I'm female. No, means army job itself means it is seen as a difficult job because it is supposed to be. But it is just your trade, and it is not about that male can do it better, and the criteria in order to get in and in order to stay, in order to promote, is again gender neutral. Means you don't feel like that a male's gonna get it just because he's a male. You work as hard as your peers, you gonna get promoted. That's it. Means and the tasks that are set up as well, it is like, this is a job, really doesn't matter who's doing it. Means I am on a course right now where we have got males and females, and male ratio means it just shows like male ratio is higher than females, but females are clearly dominating the scene because they have got more experience. So
definitely. So if you can talk a bit about the recruitment process, because I've never I would just imagine it being very, very tough, and which, you know, for someone that's, you know, fighting for their country, they need to be tough. But can you just tell us a little bit about the recruitment process, because I'm really excited to know what you actually get put through.
I joined in April 14 it was. It's scary.
Is it?
Going in and nobody can say it's not scary. I think male or female, because you don't know what you're going to expect. But you put in with 20, 30 other people that also don't know what to expect. And you're all in that boat, and you start together and you finish together, and you start off weak, and some people are stronger than others, and you just get, again, it's the working alongside each other, helping each other with, some people have different weaknesses than others. And we do the 14 weeks and with that same group of people.
14 weeks, right. And then what happens after the end of the 14 weeks then?
Obviously if you get through it, you do your pass off, and then you all go off on to your different phase 2 trade routes, and go and learn about your actual job.
But like being females, does it mean, because you're in the army, can you start families? Can you get married and have kids? Because people may assume, you know, because you're so dedicated to this role that you can't. Or any of you, have you started families or are you married?
The Army's got an open door policy, and it's very supportive of people with families. There's plenty of people with families. And actually, we do thank people's families, because behind every one service person, you've usually got a raft of friends and family who are supporting them to come and do this job for Britain and the British people. And we really do very much value friends and family. So when people do look to have a family, start a family, there is support to enable people to do that. Maternity leave, for example, childcare vouchers are available. So that really doesn't bar
stop people.
Your talent. It's about taking your talent as far as possible. Really.
What type of skills would you say, Harpreet, are needed for a person to want to join the army? What sort of interpersonal skills would you need?
Interpersonal means, I would say determination is one of the most important things. You have to have that determination to succeed, that I'm gonna get it done, you know. And depends on what job you actually want to do. Like for example, if you want to be lawyer within the army, a law degree would help, literally help. And if you want to be infantry soldier, I'm not sure what the educational requirement is, but for example, in my trade, a degree in management really helped, as though it was not a requirement. And yes, and if you enter the army without any qualification, means that's not the end of your career. They do have, they do have education facilities where second to none. Means I'm on a course that is sponsored by Cranfield University. Means who would have thought that, you know, like when a person without any qualification, without any degree, could sit on that course and get that level from Cranfield University. Opportunities are immense. Means I would say these opportunities are much better than what you would get in a civilian company.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. Hello, Guji.
Harpreet, one point is very important. When you join the army, so you go to married, then you get a child and baby as well. So that time, how hard for you? You look your baby or you look your job. So that time, how can manage?
सारी facilities अंदर उन्होंने ना available कराई हुई हैं. For example, you decide to go have a baby, and in that case, maternity leave is there. You get means ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ depend ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ 2 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਦੀ ਲੀਵ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ, 6 months ਲੀਵ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ, ਔਰ 1 year ਲੀਵ ਲੈਣੀ ਹੈ. ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਵੈਲਫੇਅਰ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਪੂਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬੇਬੀ needs and requirements means that is really important. Means if mother is working back, wants to come back at work, who's going to take care of child in absence? Father kidhar hai, means is father available to take care of child if mother is on the job? Means sari facilities andar available ne. Means proper care karte ne toadi. Pura khayal karte ne. It is, I would say, the army is like a big family. Means it's just not like that you're working 9 to 5 and then you go back in your room and they just don't care. Means 5 ਮਿੰਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੇਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਓ ਜੌਬ ਤੇ, ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੂਡ ਚ ਖਰਾਬ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, they would notice, and in 5 minutes time they'll be like, okay, you're not smiling today, what happened? You know, they are like that. Means they would sit down with you and they're like, okay, I don't feel like working today. It's simply like, okay, go home, or do you want to talk or anything? Because they are the welfare means looking after each other, and sanu phase 1 to hi sikhande ne. Means you have to look after your teammate, or there are special departments that
for help there.
Yes, for help.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਰਸ ਇੱਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵੈਲਫੇਅਰ ਜੋ ਕੌਂਸਲ ਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੌਜੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੌਂਸਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਿਲਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ. ਪਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਨਵਿੰਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਪੀਪਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਪੁੱਤ ਤੂੰ ਆਰਮੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਿਆ, who's look after your children? ਸੋ ਮੇਨਲੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਲੁੱਕ ਆਫਟਰ ਕੌਣ ਕਰੂਗਾ. ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਨਵਿੰਸ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਵਾ. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਬਰਾਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਔਰ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹਰ ਪੱਖੋਂ ਹੈਲਪਫੁਲ ਵਾ. ਔਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਬੜਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ 15 ਸਾਲ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੋਇਸ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਰਮੀ ਛੱਡ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਰਿਟਾਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ. ਅਰਲੀ ਰਿਟਾਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਕੋਈ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਕਮਿਟਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਉਹ 4 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛੱਡ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਹੈ. ਤੇ ਵੈਲਫੇਅਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਫੌਜੀ ਹੈ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਦੂਰ, it used to happen like, but when in 60s 70s when facilities were not there, army has evolved with time, with society. un sade kol bahar zyada facilities ne, unniyan hi facilities sade kol andar vi hai. te sare realize karte ne that how means our job is difficult. te us karke means जे फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक सोल्जर अफगानिस्तान चलिया है, राइट, ਉਹਦੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ, you know, that my family is left behind. Yes, we don't want that tension in soldier's head. Like we want him to go to Afghanistan and do his job there, like with clear head that my family has been taken care of. And how are we going to convince him until unless we provide that? Means on ਵੇਖਦੇ ਨੇ, it's not about only Asians, like with British males as well, like they have families, and if we are not taking care of our own, means
They're
we
not
cannot
focused on
convince
the
that
job as well.
Yeah, and we cannot convince others that we can take care of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's why it is really good inside.
ਸਾਰਾ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਪੂਰਾ ਰੱਖਦੇ
Yeah,
ਆ
that's good ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਬਿਠੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਬੱਚਾ ਨੂੰ ਆਰਮੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਪਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੋਚ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਕਲਚਰ ਹੈ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਔਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਘਬਰਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਚਾਹੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਵਾ ਚਾਹੇ ਵਕੀਲ ਵਾ ਚਾਹੇ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰ ਵਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਕੋਪ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਰਮੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਰਮੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਚੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਚੇਂਜ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 4 ਸਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਜੌਬ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਓਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਰਮੀ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟਸ ਵਗੈਰਾ and you like some other trade, you actually can do it. Means I did my training in RMP, but after that I transferred into administration.
Yeah, it seems like there's so many different routes that you can take. So if once you're there and you decide you want to take a different route, the option's there, and you keep saying that the support group is there. You're constantly being looked after. There's nothing for you to worry about. Uncle, jangan ki this khyaal pura dhyan rakhde hunde ya. So I think it's fantastic career to go into. It's nearly coming to the end of the show. I want to come to each and every one of you to just give us a message to our viewers, maybe a message of encouragement of why they should join the British Army. So if you can look into that camera and just give them a message.
Well, I've been in the Army just under 3 years and I've had so many opportunities to do adventure training. I've been whitewater rafting in Kenya.
Wow.
I've done surfing for a week, which I've always wanted to do, and it's all in work time, so you get paid for doing it.
Yeah.
It's been the best thing that I've ever done with my life, and I hope I'll carry on and see where it takes me.
Brilliant. What about yourself, Captain?
I think if I was to pick anything, I'd probably pick the words of the Nobel Prize winner Malala Yousafzai, who's a very good example of somebody who just wanted to go to school to get an education. Her words are, when girls get an education, everyone benefits. And if you're getting an education and you want to take your talents as far as possible, I've certainly found that I've been able to find that in the Army.
Brilliant. And finally coming over to you.
मैं भी कहूँगी बस कि मैं इंडिया च भी एजुकेशन लिती है मैं इधर भी एजुकेशन लिती है आर्मी नाल मैं स्पेन हो आई नीदरलैंड्स बेल्जियम जर्मनी यू नेम इट they'll send you ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਦੀ ਐਡਵੈਂਚਰ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ means you name it you're gonna get it. Means this is an area that you really should look at. Like just give it a chance.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much to Captain Hazel Ashton, Lance Corporal Harpreet Kaur and Private Yasmin from the British Army. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your experiences with us. Hopefully we've encouraged people at home, especially the girls, to, this is something that they want to do. If there is, then please, contact the Army. I'd imagine there's a website that they can get all the information on. If you want to contact us and we can put you in touch with them, you can contact the Sikh Channel studio on 0121 380 1050 and we can put you in touch with these guys as well. But that is all we've got time for. Thank you for everybody that's joined us since 7 o'clock this morning. We'll be back with the breakfast show bright and early on Monday morning.
Monday morning.
Yeah, that's all we've got time for. Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.